Hey, good morning, guys. Gonna make you a quick video because I'm out today. I went and got my COVID and flu shot on Sunday, and I just have not felt well since. Just kind of having a bad response to it. But I didn't want y'all to be without some extra help today, so I'm gonna make a video for the lab. We're gonna see how this goes. If you feel like it's something you like, then maybe I can try to find some time to move forward with making some videos. But let's get into it. So my expectation of you today, it's October 28th, is that on Canvas, what we have been working on is in week 12. You guys should be working on the conditional programming formative number 2. All right. So I'm going to pull that up. Basically what I want you to do is you're going to be creating 4 programs. I'm realizing I can't spell conditional very well, but you're going to be creating 4 programs. You're going to do a grade output, a rock, paper, scissors, IP address, and a lottery game. So start by opening up this document, and then I'm going to walk through a lot of this together. I'm going to start each problem, and you're going to finish them on your own. All right, we're going to see how this goes. So, pull up your NetBeans. That's step 1. Everybody should know the little gold box with the green plus. That is how you start a new project. And we are going to start a project called Formative 2. Well, let's not call it that. Let's call it Conditionals Formative, I guess. That's good. Conditionals Formative. All right, so I'm going to see here. I'm going to go ahead and delete out my comments for you guys. That way, and then I think I'm also... I'm going to try to increase my font some more. Oh, wait, hold on. Can I just do this? Okay, I can do this. All right. So, like I said, we are doing 4 problems for this. This first one is called grade output. Second one is rock, paper, scissors. So what I want you to do is create functions for these, right? Or methods, sorry, methods. So public void, we'll do static. Public static void grade output, right? So now I've made a method for that one. Then public static void rock, paper, scissors, right? And this is where I'm going to do the code for each one. So I'll do the code and grade output there, do the code for rock, paper, scissors there. So IP addresses is the next one, and lottery is the last one. So we're going to have public static void IP addresses and public static void lottery. All right, so those are our 4 programs we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and go into our made method, and we're going to call them. So that way, as we do them, they are ready to be run, right? So grade output, rock, paper, scissors, IP addresses. Be very careful that you're matching the spelling. A lot of y'all like to misspell stuff. So whatever it says here, it must match to your main method, all right? So please make sure that you're spelling stuff correctly. All right, so let's just quickly take a look at number 1. So number 1, make a program that asks the user to input. All right, keyword there is input. I know I'm about to need a scanner. So ask the user to input their numerical grade, and then we're going to output their letter grade. All right, for example, enter in your grade as an integer. If someone puts an 88, it should say B+. If they say 74, it should be a C. All right, notice this is the scale that I want you to use, so you are doing plus and minus. All right, so the keyword there was import. Whenever you see, input, whenever you see input, you know you're going to need a scanner. So because I saw input, I went and made a scanner, or I imported a scanner. The next step is to actually make the scanner, all right? And we are gonna make it globally. We are gonna make it globally, all right? So that means we're making it above all our methods so that it can be used throughout our whole program. So keyboard can now be used everywhere because we made it at the top, all right? All right, so now we just gotta get into actually coding. So we first want to prompt them to enter their grade. So all you do is ask them a question using a print statement. Enter your grade as an integer. All right. Now we need to store it. So we want it as an integer. So int grade. And then we're going to use that scanner, right? So use the scanner to store it. So enter your grade as an integer, and then keyboard.nextInt to store it into grade. All right, so at this point, we just need to do all the if-else statements to figure out which one to print. So for instance, let's look at the A+. A+ is a 98 and above. So if their grade is greater than or equal to a 98, then they got an A+. Right? So the way these conditions worked, and we taught about this in class, is you always start with an if, then an else if you have two branches. So if with one branch, if else with two branches, and then if, else, etc. Like keep adding else ifs if you have a lot of branches. This is a lot of branches, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I'm going to have an if, 11 else ifs, and then one final else for the F. All right. So for example, else if would be next. If the grade, all right, is above a 93, all right, above a 93. So if the grade is greater than or equal to a 93, then they have an A. Okay. Else if. What's the next one? Next one is above a 90. So if the grade is greater than or equal to a 90, then it's an A minus. All right. So I've done 3 of them, right? A plus. So you're going to keep going, right? So this will be an else if here for B plus. Else if for B. Else if B minus. Else if C plus. Else if C. Else if C minus. Else if D plus. Aren't you glad we got rid of the D? Else if D. Else if D minus. All right, if you're good, this could just be a lot of copy and paste, all right? Then you're gonna end it with an else, right? So you gotta start with an if, else ifs all the way down, and then you end with an else, all right? And this is the last possible. Anything below that 70 is an F, okay? So, again, asking for a grade. If it's above a 98, A plus, 93, A, all the way down to the F. You guys need to program this. Don't just put comments in, all right? All right, like I said, I'm going to start the stuff, but you've got to do it. Whew. My head's starting to get heavy. All right, I'm going to run it. So enter your grade as an integer. So if I have a 98, it says A+. I run it again. If I have a 32, it says an F. If I have a 91, it says an A-, right? If I do like an 80, it still says F because I haven't implemented these. I haven't done these. All right, so that's why I want you to do those, okay? Okay, so moving on, we're going to now look at rock, paper, scissors. So rock, paper, scissors, everybody should be familiar with the game. Let me find our lab. All right, so rock, paper, scissors. Write a program that plays a rock, a paper, and scissor game against the computer. You will ask the user to input 0 for rock, 1 for paper, 2 for scissors. Rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, and paper beats rock. Those are all conditions, right? Rock, scissors, scissors, paper, paper, rock, conditions. All right, if you and the computer have the same choice, it's a draw. So this one's going to be a little more complicated because we have like multiple scenarios here. But we're going to dive into it. We're going to see what we can do. All right, so we have already imported our scanner up here, so we don't need to do that again. We can just use it because we made it global. So first thing we need to do is we need to ask them what they are going to pick. So rock is 0, paper is 1, scissors is 2. So we then need to store, we're going to call this the player, right? We need to store what the player has picked. And we're going to use our scanner. So they should be putting in a 0, a 1, or a 2. So we're using a next int and storing it into an int. Okay, we're using integer because they're not going to type rock, paper, or scissors. They're going to do 0, 1, 2. All right, so now we need to get the computer. All right, so the computer is going to be a random one. So y'all should know this from our math class unit that we did, on the last test, unit 2. Okay, if you remember, you use math.random, like so, and then you multiply by how many things you need. So we need 3, right? We need 0, 1, 2. So we're doing math.random times 3, so that way we get a random number between 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so now we have the player's pick and the computer's pick. So we just got to figure it out. So it's probably good practice to tell them what they picked, right? So if they pick 0, if the player picks 0, we're going to tell them the player picked rock. Okay. Now, just for time, it's going to be quick for me to copy paste in 0, 1, 2, rock, paper, scissor. All right, rock, paper, scissor. So if we actually run this, all right, letter grade 22, that's an F. All right, rock, paper, scissor. If I say 1, the player picked paper. All right, let me run it again. You always want to test your code. 0, the player picked rock. All right, so that seems like it's good. So I think the next thing we need to do is do the same thing with the computer. We want to know what that computer picked. So I'm going to copy this. Be careful not to copy this extra bracket down here. I'm going to paste that. And instead of player, it's computer. So what did the computer pick? Right? And then when we print the computer. So if I run it, all right, if I pick 2, the player picked scissor, the computer picked rock. Beautiful. All right, it works. But now we got to do the logic to see who wins. All right, so you got to do the logic to see who wins. So we're going to do, this is player pick confirmed. I'm going to add a couple little comments here. Computer pick confirmed. And then down here, logic of winner. All right, so now let's start the logic of who won. So I think it's easiest. Let's start with when there's a draw. When there is a draw, it means that the player and the computer have the same value. The player and the computer have the same value. So I'm gonna do a /n. Well, no, I've been using print lines everywhere. We're fine. All right, so it is a draw. Nobody wins this game, right? So then next, so that's if it's a draw. That's an easy one. The next is if the computer picks 0, which is rock, and, so double ampersand means and. So it's for two things being true. If the computer picks rock and the player picks scissor, right? Scissor is 1. Wait, no, paper. Paper. So the computer picks rock, player picks paper. So rock and paper. Who wins out of rock and paper? Well, I'm going to say paper beats rock. The player wins, right? And we're just going to go through all the combinations of these. So we're going to start with so the computer picking rock. Now this one, we're changing the player to 2, which means it's going to be scissors. So when that happens, rock, that means now that it's reversed. Rock beats scissors, the computer wins, right? So we've done both cases where the computer picked rock. So now we need to do the 2 cases. So I'm going to copy and paste and give us 2 more. So we need to do the 2 cases where the computer picks paper, which is 1. So rock, paper, scissors, the computer picked paper. I know it's confusing. So the only other 2 options are if the player does 0 or 2. Because remember, we're already handling if they both pick the same thing up here. All right, so rock, paper. So computer has paper, player has rock. So that means paper beats rock, the computer wins, right? Computer wins. Okay, on this one, computer picks paper, player picks scissors. So scissors beats paper. So the player wins. Right? All right, we got 2 more to do, right? There's 2 more combos here. The other 2 combos are if the computer picks scissors and 0 and 1, right? Because that's the only other combos. So this is rock and scissors. So rock beats scissors, which who had rock? Player had rock. All right. This is scissors and paper. Scissors beats paper. The computer wins. Computer had scissors. All right. And that should be all of them. Like that should be all the scenarios there. All right. So let's test it. If I run it, I'm going to pick scissors. Ooh, it's a draw. Nobody wins. All right. So I'm going to pick scissors again just because I want to try to get, oh my God. How is that happening? All right. Okay, that time it's truly random because we got something else. So scissors beats paper, the player wins. Scissors beats paper, the player wins. Beautiful. All right, so I think we've got everything that we needed. I'm gonna pick rock. It's a draw. All right, paper beats rock, the computer wins. I'm not sure I won yet, but all right, you get the idea. So we have done the first two. So now we need to look at IP addresses. So I think I am gonna do this one with y'all, and then I might leave lottery for you to try on your own because they're all very similar. So well, maybe lottery has a lot of modulus you need. Maybe we'll leave that one to do together in class, but we'll see. All right. So the internet runs on web addresses. The addresses we type represent the IP address for each site and how the computer finds an individual web page. IP addresses are made up of 4 numbers, each between 0 and 255, separated by a period. For example, 128.253.2158 is an IP address. Write a program which takes 4 integer inputs and tests if they make up a valid IP address. In other words, your program should test to see if each number entered is between 0 and 255. So if it's incorrect, your program should print octet number is incorrect, where number is the octet number, 1 being the first, 4 the last. All right. So let's look at the sample. Please enter the first octet 898.34.712.45. So remember, it's got to be between 0 and 255. So this one's above 255, so octet 1 is incorrect. 3, the third one here, is above 255, so it's incorrect. Then if they get it all correct, we print out the IP address. That's not too bad, right? So basically we have 5 things we're checking here. This one, this one, this one, this one, and then if they're all correct. All right, so shouldn't be too bad. So let's jump into it. All right, so IP addresses. Again, already made our scanner up here. We know that they're gonna have to put in input. All right, we know that they're gonna have to put in input, so we made the scanner up there so we can get started. So we need 4 pieces of information from them. I'm not gonna do print line, I'm gonna do print on this one. Please enter the first octet. All right, well, I'm not gonna copy yet. And then it'll be oct1. Oct1 is equal to keyboard.next int. Okay, so we're storing an integer because they're whole numbers. All right, so again, there's 4 octets. So I just copy and pasted. First octet, second octet, third octet, fourth octet. So we could even check and we could give them a nice little the octet you entered is, if we wanted, so oct1 plus it's just a period. So I'm gonna copy this because I'm gonna be making that period a couple times. Plus oct2 plus, guess I didn't copy it. Okay. Plus oct3. Oh, sorry guys. I know I was getting kind of into my camera there. Plus that, plus oct4. Okay. So basically we took their input, so oct1, oct2, oct3, oct4, and then we're telling them what they entered, and then we're gonna check them. So I'm gonna run this just to test it. Okay, please enter the first octet. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 7, 8, 5, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4. All right, and oh, sorry, it's not an octet, the IP address. That's what it is. The IP address. So let's be. So the IP address you entered is OCT1, OCT2, OCT3, OCT4. Okay. So now we got to move into actually checking them. So we're going to create a Boolean called correct. So that way, if they all end up being correct, then it'll print, right? As soon as one of the octets is not correct, we're going to make correct false, all right? It's kind of like our flag. We're using it as a flag. So we're going to flag the false whenever it's not correct. All right, so if oct1, remember it's less than or equals to 0 is bad. We're using or because it's either, right? If it's below 1, or if it's below 0 or above 255. So either or case, either one of those is incorrect, it's going to change to false. So if, put 2 equals. If oct1, put a space. All right. If oct1 is less than or equal to 0, or it's greater than or equal to 255, if either of those is true, then it means that oct1 is incorrect, and we need to set correct to false, because that means it's no longer correct, right? So at this point, guys, it's pretty simple. Because we did oct1, now we're doing oct2. We did oct2, now we're doing oct3. We're doing oct4, just like so. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now our final case is if they're all correct. So if correct is equal to true. All right, if correct is equal to true, then we're just going to tell them IP address just like we did up here. I'm going to go copy this. I might add is valid on the end because I like that. Okay. So yeah, copy and paste and reuse code, but if it is correct at the end, then the IP address and all those things is valid. Okay. So as long as oct1, all right, I know I moved through that quick. I'm trying not to make this video go super long, but that is number 3. So let's test it. Okay, first octet 125. So let's get the second and the third one wrong. So 654, 785, and then 12. So oct2 and oct3 are incorrect. So it does work. Now if we get them all right is kind of the next thing. So 2, 3, 4, 5 would be a valid one. Yeah, so it works. Good work, y'all. Good work. Okay. Last one's the lottery. This video is already at like 20 something minutes, so, or it's almost 30 minutes now. So I'm gonna leave lottery. Please try it. All right, please try this one if you have time in class. Again, it's a lot of the same stuff. Just take the time to understand what it's asking you. All right, and then let's read through it real quick, and I can just kind of verbalize my thoughts on it. So make a program that asks the user to enter a 2-digit number. A random 2-digit number is then computed and compared to the number the user picks. So just like the lottery, right? Go to the gas station, you pick a number, but the lottery is random. If they got an exact match, they will win 10,000. If they got both digits correct but flip the order, they will win 2,000. All right, so you're going to need modulus there, right? Because you're going to need to, when you divide something by 10 and whatever's left over is the remainder, that's your ones place. So you need to be able to grab the ones place. So you're going to say number mod 10. Whatever the number mod 10 is will get you that ones place. All right. If they got both digits correct but flip the order, $2,000. If they got one of the digits correct, they will win 500. All right. So again, you're going to have to use modulus 10. All right, to get the individual numbers there. And you're going to have to use division too. So division to get the first number and modulus to get the second, okay? But I want you to try it. Try it out, guys. At least, you can take the input and you could easily do the first comparison to see if they won 10 grand. But, again, try it, and we'll talk about it in class on Thursday. All right? All right, I'm going to go rest, feel better, miss you guys. Talk to you later.